Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Mitch from dii Audio, where we like to dyno amps down under. On today's episode, we have the grand finale of the Recoil amps. Now, this is the dii1400.5. You know what that means? It's a 5-channel amplifier. Let's pop it out of the box and show you what's inside. Now, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, make sure you check this one and that one out first. They obviously run through the 4-channel versions and the monoblocks. This being a 5-channel, I thought I'd make this one on its own. In the box, you obviously have your amplifier. You then have your bass knob, which is quite nice, made out of metal. Very, very small. Very small. Just like everything with these amplifiers, they are very small. So this has your power protector light, and you have a clip light as well, made out of metal. Done by telephone cable. You do have some mounting screws, and then in this bag you have your Allen keys as well as wire ferrules. And I have said in the past that it is really good that they are supplying wire ferrules to make these nice clean installs. Now, the size of this amplifier is 270mm long, 135mm wide, and 155 high. I will also put up the inches measurements now. With the power ratings for this amplifier, it's meant to do 100 watts times 4 at 4 ohms, 160 watts times 4 at 2 ohms, 320 watts times 2 bridged at 4 ohms. Then the sub portion of this is meant to do 500 RMS at 4 ohms and 800 RMS at 2 ohms. It is not 1 ohm stable. On this side of the amplifier, you have your ground, your remote, and your positive, which are a 4-gauge input. You then have your channel 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and your 5th being here. The only thing I don't like about this, and again, obviously, this is the way that they're made to keep them all nice and simple. I would have preferred to see the 5th channel being the sub on its own away. The only reason being is when they are on top of each other, you then have to almost stagger your wires and make the top one a little bit longer than the shorter one. And you have to also work out when you're doing your screws that you don't have too thick of a wire in here, because this scrub screw will actually come out and actually sit on top of or underneath, potentially touching the wire that is in the upper terminal. But other than that, it is nice and compact. On this side of the amplifier, you do have your telephone cable input. You then have your auto turn on, which is either DC, VOX, or your remote, which you can see in one of the older videos. I explain those in detail. You then have Tiffany style RCAs or panel mount, whichever way. You then have your configuration, whether you just want to run 2-channel, 4-channel, or 5-channel. Then underneath this metal panel here, you do have your settings. We'll get in a little bit closer. You do have your channel 3 and 4, channel 1 and 2, your sub channel. You have frequency, crossover, and gain with a clip light. And again, some people have asked if that's input or output. That is output. Same again for channel 1 and 2. On your sub, you have your gain, subsonic, low pass, clip light, and bass boost. FYI, don't do that one. Makes the amps go boom. But I guess there's nothing left to do. Let's strap this amp up to the dyno and see what kind of power it makes. Just like the last ones, we're going to break this warranty seal, pop the back panel off, and see what kind of guts is inside. Here we go. And there we go, guys. That's the inside of them. I tell you what, they really know how to jam-pack these amplifiers. There is just so much going on in such a little component system. It's great. So here across the top, you have your channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here on the other side, you then have your 5th channel. Well, there you go, guys. That's the Recoil amplifiers. I have spoken to the distributor in Australia, and he has mentioned that the 3000 and the 5000 watt monoblocks are also due into Australia sometime soon. So when they do get them, they will likely send them over because obviously we want to see what kind of power they make as well. Overall, as I've mentioned in the past, these amplifiers are quite nice. They're quite compatible with new cars. They're really nice on their size. They've got tuning abilities. They've got clip lights. They've basically got everything that you want within an amplifier. The ratings are a little overrated, I'd say, and that couldn't necessarily be the ratings themselves. I believe potentially the clip indication on the amplifiers are just set a little too low, or maybe the components are just not quite there, because they do make the power at that dynamic full send. They're making pretty much across the board, they all make over their rated power when you're giving them dynamic. But when you're going up to that clipping point, I just feel that the amp is just clipping that little bit too soon, and you'll notice that in some of the other videos as well if you haven't watched them yet. But overall, guys, if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. And as always, thanks for tuning in. This is Mitch from BD Audio, where we like to dyno amps down under. I'm tuning out. See ya.